Welcome to the Cowboys versus Ninjas Podcast. We are diving into some really cool flash fiction today. It's ninjas versus, well, kind of everything you wouldn't expect. Like, you sent in these awesome stories where ninjas are facing off against everyday life. Think amusement parks, reality-bending powers, that sort of thing. You told us you like surprises and some humor, so let's get into it. What makes these stories so captivating?
What really grabs you right away is how these legendary figures, ninjas, are thrown into these ordinary, almost surreal settings. That contrast makes for some seriously creative storytelling.
Totally. So let's start with this one called Shuriken Coaster from Ninja Amusement Park. Okay, so picture this. Typical amusement park, overpriced snacks, those slightly creepy mascots, the works. But this one has a Ninja Legends show. We meet Mikey, the younger brother, totally hyped about ninjas, and Sarah, his sister, who is like the queen of sarcasm and pointing out all the ridiculous stuff. You specifically mentioned how much you like that sibling dynamic.
Yeah.
And that dynamic is really important. Mikey's excitement sets the stage right. He's all in on the spectacle. And Sarah's skepticism, well, that's probably how a lot of us would react to ninjas popping up at an amusement park. That's what makes it all so believable when things get crazy.
Yeah, because those bad guy ninjas in the show, not actors. We're talking real Kage Clan ninjas with real throwing stars. And they're after a mysterious scroll that's hidden somewhere in the park. So Mikey and Sarah's family vacation goes from finding the best cotton candy to dodging actual ninja attacks.
It's like, boom, expectations shattered, no slow buildup, just ninjas crashing into this normal everyday scene, and these ordinary teenagers are suddenly way over their heads.
And their reactions are so interesting. Mikey, well, he's practically living out his ninja fantasies, almost seems to be enjoying the whole thing. And Sarah, at first she's totally not impressed, but then she goes into this protective mode like, not on my watch, ninja dude. It's kind of cool how they find their own ways to handle the chaos, right?
You picked up on something important there about Sarah. Even though she seems detached, she finds this core of strength when things get serious. Yeah. It shows us that maybe we all have that in us, that ability to rise to the occasion.
Right. And the setting. Forget your typical martial arts dojo. This fight is happening in an amusement park, ninjas jumping over hot dog stands, performers getting taken out by real katanas, the pirate ship ride turning into a strategic battleground. It's like that whole mundane, made awesome thing in action.
But the familiar setting makes it even crazier, right? You have this deadly ninja fight in a place where people are supposed to be having fun. It makes you see everything differently, the characters, the audience, everyone.
And you talk about resourcefulness. There's this scene where the ninja leader corners the poor panda mascot. And Sarah, brilliant, or maybe just a really annoyed big sister, she grabs the giant panda head. And Mikey, get this, uses a churro, like the fried dough thing, as a weapon to create a diversion. Who expects to get attacked by a churro?
It's funny, right? A ninja versus a churro. But it also shows how you can use anything to your advantage. The absurdity becomes a strategy.
And then Sarah, still wearing the giant panda head, headbutts the ninja leader and gets the scroll. And here's the kicker. It's not some ancient artifact of power or anything. It's a peace treaty between rival ninja clans. The whole park attack was a staged event just to steal this treaty.
Talk about a twist. It adds a whole layer of intrigue, right? It's not just a fight. There's a bigger game at play, a hidden world beneath the surface.
And the chase scene? It ends on the Wind Dragon roller coaster. It's this crazy sequence with Sarah and Mikey using the twists, drops, even the water spray to dodge the ninjas. So visually cool.
I mean, a roller coaster chase. Genius. It's pure chaos. The ninjas can't rely on stealth and precision anymore. It's all about speed and instinct.
In the end, Sarah and Mikey become these unlikely heroes. The park's thrilled, even promising a new panda mascot ride in their honor. And, get this, there's a hint that maybe Sarah's got a bit of an adventurous side now. Maybe those family vacations won't be so boring after all.
I love that it shows how these extraordinary events can change someone. Sarah's experience opens up her world a little bit, shows her that anything is possible. And you were right, this really plays into what listeners love, those aha moments, like figuring out what the scroll was and how the kids dealt with this crazy situation.
Okay, so we've got ninjas in an amusement park. Now, buckle up, because this next story goes in a completely different direction. Shadow Shift takes us into a world where teenage ninjas don't just hide in shadows. They can actually manipulate reality.
It's a big change from the amusement park story, right?
Yeah.
It's way more fantastical. This time, we're exploring the idea of having these incredible powers but struggling to control them.
Right. We meet Rina, Kenji, and Sensei in this dusty old dojo. They're practicing shadow manipulation, but it's super basic stuff. Shadows flickering, maybe making a small object float for a second. Nothing impressive. You said this shows a different side of ninjas, a more like supernatural side.
Showing them struggling makes them more relatable, right? These aren't your typical ninja masters. And then, bam, these crazy reality-bending powers come out of nowhere.
Exactly. It turns out that strong emotions trigger these powers. They call them shifts. And they're completely unpredictable. Like, Kenji literally sinks into the floor during training. Talk about embarrassing. In the beginning, these powers are more of a problem than anything else.
It makes you think about the connection between emotions and power, doesn't it? Controlling yourself becomes just as important as mastering any technique.
And then, things get serious. The government shows up. And they aren't asking nicely. They want to weaponize these teenagers. Sensei fights back. But it shows how dangerous these powers could be in the wrong hands.
The government coming in changes everything. Suddenly there are these huge stakes, and Sensei standing up to them shows that this is about more than just learning to control your powers.
Yeah. And the escape. Total chaos. One kid disappears out of fear, another turns into a bunch of squirrels and almost gets run over. Rina's shadow puppets create these small distractions that could have caused huge problems. It's clear they have no control over their powers.
That escape scene really shows the difference between having power and knowing how to use it, right? They're powerful, but without focus, their powers are dangerous.
But being on the run, constantly trying to evade capture, forces them to figure things out.
Yeah.
Rina's anger helps her control her shadow puppets. Another kid's longing for home manifests as these crazy flower blooms that disorient people. They start to adapt even though it's super stressful.
It's like they are learning on the fly. Being under pressure forces them to connect their emotions to their powers. It's pretty cool to see.
But there's this dark side too. Kenji's shifts start to take over. His behavior gets more and more erratic, and he has these disturbing visions. It's a warning, Shows what can happen when you lose control of this kind of power.
Kenji's struggle is really important. It shows that power can be destructive, especially when it's not controlled. It makes you wonder if bending reality comes at a personal cost.
And then there's this chilling discovery. News reports about missing kids with strange abilities suggest they aren't the only ones being targeted. It makes you realize that there's something much bigger going on, a conspiracy maybe.
It adds a whole new dimension to the story, right? They aren't just running. They might be part of a pattern. Someone is hunting people like them.
Eventually, they manage to infiltrate this government facility. It's not pretty, but it works. Squirrels cause panic, flowers distract guards, and Rina's shadow puppets take down the security system. They win because they use their powers creatively, working together, not just relying on brute force.
It's their ingenuity that makes them strong, right? The way they combine their individual powers. It's David versus Goliath, but with shadow puppets and squirrels.
And the big takeaway. True power isn't about just bending reality. It's about mastering yourself and your emotions. A much deeper message than just good guys versus bad guys. And like you said, these stories take ninja concepts and drop them into these modern settings. Really cool for listeners who want to see things in a new way.
Yeah, the amusement park story is action-packed and funny, but Shadow Shift explores these bigger ideas like responsibility and what it really means to have power. But both stories show us ninjas in ways we've never seen before.
Right. So let's look at the bigger picture. We have one story that puts ninjas in an everyday setting, an amusement park, and things get hilariously out of control. Then we have another story that takes us into this reality-bending world. Two totally different approaches.
It shows how adaptable the ninja idea is, right? It can fit into any genre, action, fantasy, whatever, and it still keeps that element of surprise and skill.
And both stories use that classic fish-out-of-water idea. We have ordinary teenagers thrust into these crazy ninja situations, whether it's fighting with churros or accidentally phasing through walls.
That fish-out-of-water thing really pulls you in. You put relatable characters into these unbelievable situations, and it makes you wonder how you'd react. It's fun to imagine.
And there's this theme of hidden potential in both stories, too. Sarah discovers her inner strength, and the kids in Shadow Shift learn to control their powers under pressure.
It's like those aha moments where you realize you're capable of so much more than you thought.
Exactly. They're pushed beyond their limits, and that's when they discover things about themselves. It's like a hidden power is unlocked. And it's interesting how both stories avoid that typical ninja stereotype, the silent assassin in black. Instead, they're adaptable and use their skills or powers in these totally unexpected ways. It's less about being stealthy and more about being resourceful and using whatever you have to survive.
It's like a fresh take on the ninja myth, you know? It's not just about the old tropes. It makes you think about what it means to be a ninja in today's world.
So, what does this all mean for you listening out there? These flash fiction stories give you a glimpse into a world where ninjas meet modern life head-on. You've got ninja battles in amusement parks and kids bending reality. It's all about ordinary people finding extraordinary strength when things get crazy.
At their heart, these stories are about resilience and adapting to the unexpected. They remind us that we all have hidden strengths.
We hope this got your imagination going. What stood out to you? What other crazy scenarios can you come up with? Keep exploring. You might be surprised at what you find. And hey, don't forget to rate and follow for more Cowboys vs. Ninjas episodes.